A real concern, the USA is considering leaving NATO. A real concern that President Trump thinks that President Zelensky is a dictator. A real concern about trade wars and about tariffs. And by the way, every day's a different day with Donald Trump in the White House. A real concern that the USA is vacating the pitch in Europe.
I'd take him for a curry in Brick Lane, says Sadiq Khan about a potential Trump visit. But here's the question nobody's asking. Would Khan take responsibility if something went wrong in areas he knows would require massive security operations? Trump once called parts of London no-go zones.
I just don't think a visit from a British Prime Minister in the current context of what's going on could have got any better. Let's just pause and reflect where we were this time last week.
Let's talk a little bit about the serious stuff and what has happened over the last couple of days. The Starmer meeting in Washington with Trump, do you think it achieved anything?
And Khan never forgave him. Yet, in today's interview, Khan inadvertently confirms Trump's point by suggesting locations that would require unprecedented security measures, proving exactly what he's trying to deny. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favour. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Did you notice what Khan didn't say in that interview? He never actually said he'd welcome Trump to London, a telling omission from the city's mayor. When given the perfect opportunity to extend an olive branch, Khan instead pivoted to what amounts to a political tour designed to prove a point rather than foster diplomacy. Khan's history with Trump reveals a pattern of antagonism that stretches back years.
And I think, he's got to govern as a Prime Minister in the national interest. And that means, I'm afraid, going to the White House and spending time with Donald Trump.
But if you're a Ukrainian in London,
a real concern about how President Trump sees the United Kingdom. And that's the context of Keir Starmer's visit to the USA. And I think Keir Starmer said some time ago, country first, party second.
Can you be any more assured about what Trump is going to do as a result of that visit?
That is a genuine fear Ukrainians I speak to in London have, and there are tens of thousands in London who've made this.
Since Trump first raised concerns about safety issues in London, Khan has positioned himself as the anti-Trump figure in British politics. Remember when he approved that ridiculous baby Trump blimp to fly over London during the state visit? That wasn't the action of someone interested in diplomatic relations. It was pure political theatre. The contradiction at the heart of Khan's interview is glaring. On one hand, he's repeatedly insisted that London has no dangerous areas and denounced Trump's concerns about safety as prejudiced. Yet in the same breath, he suggests taking Trump to locations that would require extraordinary security measures, a contradiction that exposes his political manoeuvring rather than genuine mayoral responsibility. What's particularly telling is how Khan's interview responses focused entirely on showcasing diversity rather than British heritage.
We now have a Prime Minister back on the international stage. Over the course of the last 10 days, Keir Starmer has met countless European leaders, spoken to President Zelensky almost every day.
Yeah.
A home away from their home because of Putin's illegal invasion. And today, Keir will be hosting European leaders in London, including President Zelensky. And I make this point gently, Well, I think that's the moot question.
You don't know.
I can't comment, save for what I see in the media, and save for what the.
But what's your
Minister,
instinct?
I think
He prioritised Eid celebrations, Diwali festivals, and St Patrick's Day over traditional British landmarks or events celebrating British culture. Not a single mention of showing Trump Buckingham Palace, the Tower of London, or events celebrating St George's Day. This selective highlighting reveals Khan's agenda, using Trump's visit as an opportunity to score political points, rather than genuinely representing London in all its historical and cultural complexity. Let's talk practicalities for a moment. The reality of a presidential visit to areas like Brick Lane would involve massive security operations, something Khan conveniently glosses over while dismissing Trump's concerns about safety. Secret Service protocols for presidential visits to urban areas would require weeks of advanced planning, security sweeps, restricted zones, and hundreds of personnel. Yet Khan presents these locations as perfectly normal, easy destinations, as if Trump could just pop down to the local curry house without any security implications whatsoever. Khan's sudden proposal to guide Trump around London, after years of hostility, isn't about hospitality. It's about controlling the narrative. It's political theatre dressed up as mayoral duty. The suggestion that he'd personally take Trump on a tour of London's diverse neighbourhoods isn't an extension of welcome. It's an attempt to position himself as the moral authority, educating the supposedly ignorant visitor. The Secret Service, responsible for presidential protection, typically requires extensive security measures for any visit to densely populated urban areas, especially those with complicated street layouts and multiple access points. Areas with higher crime statistics trigger even more rigorous protocols, yet Khan presents these locations as if they're perfectly suitable for a presidential visit without acknowledging the extraordinary security operation that would be required, the very security that would be necessary because of the safety concerns Trump previously highlighted. This fundamental disconnect between Khan's public statements about London's safety and the practical security requirements reveals the gap between his rhetoric and reality. When Khan claims there are no dangerous areas in London while simultaneously proposing destinations that would require heightened security measures, he inadvertently confirms the very concerns he's attempting to dismiss. Khan's suggestion to take Trump to diverse areas directly contradicts his own security policies and the operational realities his police force deals with daily. The Metropolitan Police's own crime statistics show significant variations in safety across different London neighbourhoods. Statistics that Khan's administration collects, analyses, and acts upon. This is the same data that informs police deployment, community safety initiatives, and crime prevention strategies across the city. Khan can't have it both ways. Either these areas require special security consideration, as his own police force's deployment suggests, or they don't, as his political rhetoric claims. By examining what Khan didn't say about British heritage, about extending an actual welcome, about security realities, we see the true nature of his response. Political deflection rather than mayoral responsibility. A genuine mayoral approach would acknowledge London's challenges alongside its strengths, would showcase both its diversity and its traditions, and would prioritise diplomatic relations over scoring political points. Let's strip away the political theatre for a moment and face the uncomfortable truth. Under Sadiq Khan, London's Metropolitan Police budget has ballooned to over £3 billion annually. Ask yourself, if London is as safe as he claims, why the massive security spending increase? The answer lies in the polling numbers. Approximately 60% of Londoners now feel less safe in their own neighbourhoods than in previous years. This is the devastating reality Khan won't acknowledge. By suggesting locations for Trump that would require extensive security protocols while simultaneously dismissing safety concerns as prejudice, Khan has inadvertently exposed the contradiction at the heart of his leadership. The numbers don't lie. The perception of Londoners doesn't lie. Next time Khan speaks about London's safety, remember this interview where actions speak louder than words. When politicians prioritise virtue signalling over addressing legitimate public concerns, ordinary Londoners pay the price. This isn't about Trump or Khan anymore. It's about accountability to the people who live with the consequences of political posturing.